Today, feminism is widely accepted as a completely positive, necessary, and logical struggle for equality and justice between the sexes. We're told it revolutionized human life, redefining what it means to be a man, woman, mother, or father, and transforming everything from our homes to our workplaces. But what if the story we've been told about feminism isn't the whole truth? What if this monumental social change, which dismantled thousands of years of societal structure in less than a century, didn't arise naturally from women's dissatisfaction, but from something far more complex and, dare we say, deceptive? The sources suggest that modern feminism, often presented as primarily a political movement, is deeply rooted in religious beliefs. Not traditional religion, but esoteric religious beliefs, specifically ancient paganism and the occult. The word occult simply means hidden, but here it refers to beliefs claiming hidden knowledge, power, or even godlike deification from its practice. The core idea. Feminism seeks to make women gods over men, or at the very least to deify women, defining the struggle as one for dominance. This is why traditional religions, especially Christianity, are seen as the enemy and target for destruction by feminists, because their patriarchal structure conflicts with the feminist worldview. This ancient spiritual underpinning is evident in the revival of goddess worship. Figures like the ancient Mesopotamian goddess Inanna, also known as Ishtar, are revered by modern goddess worshippers as icons of female sexual power and liberation. Inanna was never associated with marriage or motherhood, but constantly sought power, especially over men and gods, even treating her male lovers in a demeaning and sadistic manner. Then there's Lilith, Adam's first wife in Jewish mysticism, who refused to be submissive, uttered God's secret name, and fled Eden. She represents female liberation and sexual control, and even vengeance against men. Perhaps the most striking is the Hindu goddess Kali, featured on the very first preview issue of Miss Magazine. Kali is portrayed with swords and severed men's heads, wearing a garland of them, and is known for her wild hair symbolizing defiance and disobedience. She symbolizes liberation and female wrath at any attempt to be tamed by men. Is it a coincidence that many famous feminist pop icons like Miley Cyrus and Cardi B are so often seen sticking out their tongues, much like Kali, or that their music promotes sexual liberation and female empowerment? The fastest growing religions in the US are Wicca and other forms of witchcraft, directly linked to this feminist narrative. Contrary to popular belief, the women's suffrage movement was not a grassroots phenomenon driven by popular demand. When Massachusetts asked eligible women voters if they wanted suffrage, only a small percentage voted yes. Instead, the sources reveal it was a top-down ideology forced upon the populace by wealthy, powerful transnational elites. Figures like Alva Vanderbilt Belmont, heiress to a vast fortune, became a major financier, donating immense sums to suffrage organizations, purchasing office space, and organizing rallies. Another key funder was Phoebe Hearst, who supported the suffrage campaign in California and was an investor in Greenacre Inn, a center for cross-religious gatherings and a devotee of the Baha'i faith, which sought to blend all religions into one world order. Many prominent suffragists themselves, like Elizabeth Cady Stanton, were not just political activists. They were openly hostile critics of Christianity, viewing it as the primary obstacle to women's liberation. Stanton even co-authored the Woman's Bible, aiming to discredit traditional Christianity and canon law. Theosophy, a new occult religion popular among these elites, aimed to create a universal brotherhood of man and abolish the idea of gender altogether. Authors like Perfaxneld explain how feminists of this period embraced Lucifer as a symbol of women's liberation against the patriarchal structure of Christianity. The true origins of feminism, when brought into the light, paint a different picture from the one we're usually shown. The sources suggest that feminism has proven to be a Faustian bargain. Women gained wealth, power and the perception of independence, but became more dependent on alcohol, drugs, and antidepressant medication. Marriage rates have plummeted, and out-of-wedlock births have soared, leading to more children growing up without fathers and facing dramatically increased risks of poor outcomes. Women may earn more degrees and hold more debt, often for jobs similar to those they once did at home, now with the added burden of taxes and daycare costs. The question remains, was this the liberation women truly desired, or the outcome of a carefully orchestrated, spiritually driven agenda that promised freedom but delivered a different, often harsher reality? Stay tuned for part 2, where we explore further the topic of the ancient dark feminine powers.